Hey, Shalom, Mishra. I want to start for those by giving all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Shai, Hashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and honors to brothers doing the work in truth while sincerity. So I'm just going to make this a real quick one. This is Scandinavians are done with cash. This was, earlier on today, just after lunch. So fewer than 10% of new Norwegians are still using paper currency or coins, which could completely disappear in a decade. And if you're in the know, you know that that's a lot longer than what the elite. I mean, the elites are ready to push the chip. It's only a matter of time now, and Lords will sooner rather than later, because the sooner this chip gets pushed out, then the sooner we can get out of this hellhole, right? Let me go down to here. It says, according to our latest numbers, we have less than 3% of broad money in cash, less than 10% of the number of less than 10% of the number of transactions, including buying coffees, are in cash. Basically saying that these Norwegians are using are using a card for everything, right? It says there was another good point as well. Where did I see it? I just lost my bearing. Oh yeah, I mean here's one. It says Sweden. Oh yeah, this was the point. It says Sweden is the most cashless nation with barely 1% of the value of all payments made using coins or notes. So basically, the infrastructure is ready in Sweden, for them to go full chip mode, right? It says for example, the country has banned cash on buses for concerns over driver safety, right? And when they push this chip, they're going to be pitching it as, oh, safety this or safety that. Your money is more safe, it's more transparent. But really, Esau's trying to be a god. Esau's basically trying to make himself a god, right? I mean, he really thinks that he is, but it says Ezekiel 28 from the top says, the word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am God. So like I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seats, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. Right, so originally it's talking about Tyrus, but who this can be applied to Esau today, because it says thine heart is lifted up. Basically you're proud, right? Who's the most proud right now on the face of planet Earth? Esau, the so-called white man. Right, it says I am God, I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas. Right, like I said, he's basically taken everything the Lord has said, right, and then flipped it upside down. Like you got Isaiah 29:16. Well, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. Right, it says verse 3, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. Right, and hey, this so-called white man is wiser than Daniel. Look at all of the. I mean, he's able to make a man into a woman. Right, and part of this part of his wisdom came microprocessors, computing, and all that, and ultimately will lead to the chip. Right, it says there is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. Yeah, because for instance, he's the Lord gave him the wisdom of the atomic bomb, right? The and with that, he's been able to bully the nations. Each time a nation comes up against them, they can just be like, oh, we've got a bomb though. That military might, for instance, hey, they wanted oil from Iraq, they went over there, they carpet bombed Iraq, and hey, that was good. Afghanistan, the same thing, right? Each time America wants something, they can, just use the military might, coming from the wisdom that they've been given from the Most High, right? To basically bully the nations into submission. And with that, the nations basically like, oh man, hey, whatever America wants, America gets. Right? It says, Verse 5 says, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic thou hast increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Yeah, that your pride. Think something like America spends more on their military than the next 8 countries combined. Right, it says, therefore thus saith the Lord power, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee. He goes into, this whole chapter is good, right? That's going into, the pride, of Esau. Also wanted to touch on, this thing here that was said, for driver safety, because that's more proof that you can't trust this devil. Right. Verse Sirach 12:10 says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Right? So Esau's always got an ulterior motive, right? Which is why you can't trust this devil. Right? I was just looking for something else. There's a point here somewhere. I was trying to find it. No, I don't know where it is. Let me get this instead, though. This is Psalms 55:21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than, were they drawn swords? Right, yeah, because Esau likes doing all of that, softly spoken. He likes, coming across as someone who's gonna help you, right? But all his motives are to your destruction, to your end, right? So he'll be like, hey, take this chip. That means if you faint and you've got I don't know, one of those ones where you got to have a shot of something. If you faint, then we can find your medical history very quickly, right? He'll come with all of these different tactics. Well, hey, if you take the chip, then you'll have early release from prison, right, etc., 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 right? Because Esau's MO, his hope, his motive is the destruction, right? And this is why, so Revelations 13:16 says, and he calls it all, both small and great, right? Your what do you call it, your average Joe, to your Bill Gates, your Jeff Bezos, right? Rich and poor, once again, your average Joe to your Jeff Bezos, free and bond, you from your, there's in the guys that are in the prisons, versus the guys that can walk around free to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? And that no man, and here's the thing, right? So so you understand, what do you call it, what this is talking about, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right now, people say it's Christianity, people say it's an embargo, right? You can't buy or sell with Christianity, right? This chip, will have all your details on it, man. If you have your bank, your passport, your this, your that, right? And that's going to be your means of, your unified means of identification, right? If you think about right now, if you're applying for a job, right, you can't apply for that job if you haven't got a passport, right? They're going to be like, have you got the legal rights to stay in this country? So have you got the legal rights to work in this country? And if you haven't got that paperwork, then they're gonna say, well, sorry, you gotta go, right? So all of this all of this information, man, is going to be stored in your chip, and they're going to say, hey, why have all of these different types of documentation, all of these passwords? Why you gotta have all of this when you can just have this one chip, right? But it's the judgment for taking that chip, right? It's Revelations 14:9 says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, right? So basically take the chip, because it doesn't matter where you take it, right? You take the chip, you're basically saying that Esau's your God, right? You're not having faith in the Most High, right? It says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, right? It says, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Right. So basically, you're going to feel the wrath of the Most High. What was that? Because all of this is all about the time of Jacob's trouble. Alright, it says, Jeremiah 30:7 says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Right, so it's going to be a time of temptation. Let's see what the precept is here. In Revelation 3:10. Yeah, it's going to be a time of temptation, and those that fail, right, those that fail the test, they're going to end up taking the chip. Right, it's Revelations 3:10 says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Right, this is which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Right, so if you have faith, then the Most High is going to take care of you in the time of temptation, and you won't succumb and take the chip. Why? Because you have an understanding of what the scriptures say. You know that the Lord's going to take care of his men. Right, it says Isaiah 65:13 says, therefore thus saith the Lord power, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Right? So just talk about how, knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times. Right? It says Isaiah 33:6 says, and not wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. Right? And the fear of the Lord, of Yahweh, is his treasure. Right? So if you fear the Lord, right, and you have understanding of these scriptures, you won't take the chip, which is the way this world is heading to. Like, people go, oh yeah, cashless is so awesome. Oh look, I can pay with my phone. Right, but they don't understand the ulterior motive. They don't understand that the elite's end goal is to chip the whole masses. Let's see if anyone even if anyone even touches on that in there. You'd be surprised with and that's the point. Without cash, you're letting the government be the middleman of every transaction you make. That means you can't pay for anything unless the government knows about it. Right? You get a quick prosy, then the government knows you're getting a quick prosy. Right? He says, hey, a slippery. I was expecting someone to at least mention the chip. Right? It says a slippery slope to 1984. Chip in your arm, anyone. Check out on YT what Aaron Russo said about Nick Rockefeller. Right? So I was just saying, so the scriptures, so if you have the knowledge and wisdom of the scriptures, then you think of scriptures like Isaiah 65:13, where it says that, the Lord's men will be taken care of. Right? Let me also get, because you say, my servant shall eat. Right now, the scripture says that no man might buy or sell. So if you can't buy or sell, that means you can't drink, you can't eat, there's no food to eat. Right? But hey, if you have faith, then the Lord will will take care of you. He'll take care of your food. Right? Because he promised, and Lord's words won't. Lord will never break a promise, man. Lord says something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Right, as Sirach 2:10 says, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Yeah, basically saying, look, read the story of Elijah, right? Read the story of Daniel in the lion's den, right? Read the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Read all of these great stories where the Lord has delivered the children of Israel from a tricky situation. Right? You think that he won't, he hasn't got enough power to deliver you from the chip. Right? You just have to have faith, right? But faith is a gift. Pursuing to what is that? Pursuing to Ephesians 2:8. It's Ephesians 2:8. It says, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourself, it is the gift of the Most High. Right? So if you haven't got faith, right, then the Lord didn't want you to have it, man. Right? Because the elect were ordained from the beginning of the earth. Right? This is Ephesians. So bug there. Right, this is Ephesians 1:4. It says, according as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Yahweh Shai Mashiach himself, according to the good pleasure of his will. Right, so basically saying the elect were chosen from before the earth, right, and the elect won't take the chip, right. So yeah, I mean, I'm starting to ramble on now, so I'll just cut it here. Lord's will, you are edified, and until the next time, I'll say shalom.